Okay, guys, so we're going to talk about these mass shootings and why this actually happened. So some of you may have heard there has been two mass shootings over in America, and everybody at the moment is trying to blame everybody. The left is trying to blame President Trump. The right is trying to blame video games. And there are a few people online, mostly YouTubers actually, that seemingly have a good idea and actually want to talk about the reason why. But you know, hey, it's really weird how everybody seemingly wants to use this for political gain, except for some people who obviously want to have a discussion about why. And we're going to talk about why these shootings actually happen and why I think this is a problem. But let's jump into what actually happened. So, El Paso terrorist, he's a hardcore progressive and a white nationalist. The El Paso terrorist is not actually a left or right leaning figure. Okay, he is very much like the Church Christ shooter. He is a eco warrior. He believed in the destruction of the environment. He believed in the fact that we were destroying the environment for corporate greed. And he also hated immigrants. He hated immigrants because he saw the immigration coming in as a way of him losing his job. He literally said in the article in the actual manifesto, which we presume is his, because it does have key information that was not talked at the time. But he turned around and he talked about how his job was going to be lost to automation and also to migrants. He talked about how immigrants were going to come over, were flooding into the country to turn the states blue, and that they were going to use this as a way of pushing this social change. And he basically saw no way out. Now, I'm not condoning what he has done. I think it's a very wrong way of forcing a topic. But he does have some points that the Democrats are trying to flood the US with immigration, offering things like, for example, universal income and healthcare and stuff like that. And they do want to turn the states blue. He is right on that point. But there is a few other things that people are missing. He said that he was much like this before Trump even ran. His political leanings, whatever you may want to call them, hardcore progressive white nationalist is probably a white way to say it. He was like this much before Trump even ran. The media that is sitting there trying to blame President Trump, and we'll get all into the blame game later, they are incorrect. Trump really had nothing to do with this guy. This guy was like this long before the US president decided to run as President of the United States. Now, obviously, if you want to find out why he did it, why he was very much like this, well, then you just simply have to look for his father. El Paso Walmart shooter Patrick Chris's father admits to nearly 40 years of drug addiction, which tore apart his family, and claims he spoke directly to Jesus. So mental issue is obviously something that runs in the family. Yes, I do think that him and his dad have mental issues. And at the end of the day, I'm wondering if the drug addiction might have caused some side effects. But the most important thing about this is the lack of a father figure in his life. He says here, the father literally tore two marriages apart, right? And I believe that the shooter was actually the stepson of this. So this is the second time that this kid has grown up without a father figure in his life. Now, at the end of the day, we then go to El Paso shooter claimed to be radicalized before Trump. Several media outlets are reporting the gunman who killed 20 people and wounded 26 at Walmart in El Paso, Texas, claimed in a manifesto that his white supremacist views had nothing to do with President Trump. In a Washington Post report Sunday, authorities believe the shooter wrote a document, though they are still gathering evidence. Quote, it's also noted that the author stressed that he maintains his white supremacist ideology for many years, predating President Trump and his 2016 campaign, which he says did not influence for his reason for carrying out the attacks. And my phone is blowing up right now because I tweeted at Stefan Molyneux and everybody's liking our comments. But yeah, now obviously at the end of the day, that's the facts of this shooting. Okay, I know everybody's at the moment, they're trying to blame guns, they're trying to blame video games, they're trying to blame presidents, they're trying to blame everybody. The fact of the matter is that this guy grew up without a father figure in his life. His father, 40 years of drug addiction. Right? Presuming that this kid, for some reason, wasn't affected by his dad's drug addiction, because, obviously, genetics. And presuming that none of that addiction or any of those side effects or anything like that passed on to the kid or anything like that, he still grew up without a father figure in his life. And then we jump over to the second shooter, which is even more interesting. Ohio gunman described himself as a pro-Satanist leftist who worshipped Elizabeth Warren. It's funny, they're still trying to blame Trump for this one too. The Ohio gunman described himself on social media as a pro-Satanist leftist who wanted Joe Biden's generation to die off, hated President Trump and law enforcement, and hoped to vote for Senator Elizabeth Warren for president. In the early hours of Sunday morning, rifle-wielding Connor Bates rampaged through Daytona Entertainment District, killing his sister and 8 others and leaving dozens of others wounded before police killed him. I want socialism. I'm not waiting for other idiots to finally come around to the understanding, he wrote in one Twitter, according to Heavy.com. Breaking news outlet said that it found Bet's Twitter page handle I am the spokester and verified that the account belonged to the gunman through multiple verification factors, including a matching tattoo on both the page itself, page selfie, and the prominent news outlet picture of Gunnar Betts. Several family linkages to the page, similar photos, including him and the family dog on the page, family members, verified accounts. And refuges, so they've done their due diligence, right? The Twitter account painted a picture of a left-wing anarchist and distant, very far from the anti-immigration manifesto posted by Saturday's El Paso gunman. Vote blue for God's sake, he wrote on the last November 2 on the day of the senator's death. Betts wrote F. John McCain. Though he had a fascination for guns, Bett also was a fan of gun control and blamed Republicans for school shootings, which is ironic. This is America, guns at every corner, every gun's in the house, no freedom but to kill. He wrote in December, and on the day of the Parkland, Florida school shooting, he tweeted that Senator Rob Portman, hey Rob, how much did they pay you to look the other way? 17 kids are dead, if not now, when? In reference to the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, he wrote, you can't kill 50 plus people and injure 600 in 10 minutes with cigarettes, my dude. Right? So, far leftist, right? And I'll put all references in the descriptions so you can go through and read these articles yourself. Now, obviously, the Ohio Board of Education website shows mass shooter Connor Betts as a registered Democrat. Now, that can be edited. I have seen people say that. But this is actually, I believe this is actually a different site. Actually, that can't be edited. So we'll have a look at that. Daytona mass shooter was registered Democrat, voted in 2 Democrat primaries. Mass shooter stopped by law enforcement. Now, okay, so this is a 3rd shooting that possibly could have happened in a week, but he was actually stopped by the police department. A guy that was actually William Patrick Williams, 19, arrested by Ethe and FBI special agents at the hotel for acquiring a firearm under false pretenses. He misrepresented his address on the National Instant Crime background checks. This was diverted because I believe it was his mother. His grandmother convinced him to allow her to take him to hospital for mental health treatment instead. Now, obviously, like I say, Republicans obviously are blaming video games. Comey to Trump after shootings. You owe us more than a condolence. House Republicans say violent video games could link to mass shootings. Democrats pressure Mitt McConnell to cancel Senate recess for gun control vote because nothing like a tragedy to push it through. And the Democrats blame Trump for recent mass shootings. Now, the interesting thing is, this gunman here, so why did this happen? Well, this gunman here grew up with a father who talked about smashing the patriarch. Talked about smashing the patriarchy, and he was a far leftist. Would have voted for Elizabeth Warren. So, what do both of these shootings have in common? Okay, because one of them is far left Elizabeth Warren voter. The other one is a far left / anti-immigrant. Bit of a mix, right? What do they both have in common? And if you want to know why these shootings are happening, it's because of lack of role models for father figures. This is something that a few other YouTubers have talked about, and they're right on the money here. At the end of the day, the reason why these shootings are happening is because these men have no role models in their life. The first one's father was a drug addict for 40 years, and the second one was some beta cuck who talked about smashing the patriarch. There is no strong role models in their life to turn around and tell them what is right or what is wrong. No one to tell them that, like no one to go to advice. I think it was Blonde from Blonde and the Beast. She said about it, and she's right. If you were a young fella and you've got problems, say you can't get a girlfriend, right? And this is apparently one of these shooters, the second one I think it was, had a hit list. He was bullied at school. But the reason why he was bullied at school was because of this hit list that he had. Most of the people on this hit list consisted of women who rejected him. Right? Another beta cuck-like system. Or another beta cuck-like trait, right? Gets rejected by women, has no strong role models in his life. Where's he going to go to with advice? He can read Jordan Peterson, which probably wasn't out when there was all this shit was started. Or he could go to his dad. Well, his dad's too busy trying to smash the patriarch. And the first one's dad is too busy getting high or doing drugs. If you want to stop mass shootings, if you want to stop people going through killing people, the first thing you need to do before you worry about violent video games or banning guns or anything else is you go through and you fix the family. The nuclear family that has been destroyed by these far left progressive types who want to smash the patriarch, who want to demasculate humanity and demasculate men. Guns have been available for hundreds of years. Violent video games have been available for 20 odd years. I grew up 30 odd years, 40 years even. I grew up playing some of the most violent video games in history. But I had a strong role model in my life to turn around and say to me what was right, what was wrong. I had a strong role model who literally killed the power to the house because I wouldn't get off the computer playing Doom, for example, when I was younger. Obviously, the first version. Starting to show my age now. But yeah, I wouldn't get off the computer. So what did my dad do? Went out to the side of the house where the meter boxes are, because in Australia we have, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Australia we have meter boxes, flicked the major power switch breaker, cut the power off to the whole house. Yeah, I was pissed because I couldn't go through and finish my game. But I tell you what, my dad was a lot bigger than me. Well, at that point he was anyway. And at the end of the day, I didn't argue with him because I had a strong alpha type role model in my life. God knows what would have happened to me if I hadn't had that. And that is what I reckon is happening with these kids. Within the past 10 years, mass shootings have been going up. The whole time we're talking about, men not being able to mansplain. Manspreading is evil. We're trying to get rid of these masculine type role models out of movies and video games. And, we're going to depatronize or demasculize the people that have... It's just the whole crusade against masculinity. And people are wondering why shootings keep happening more and more. If you want to stop the mass shootings, bring around a stable role model in the families. And women, this also goes for you. Stop dating shit men. Stop going out and hooking up with the known bad boy of the coast or the city or the country or whatever it may be you live. Stop hooking up with the bad boy and going through and wondering why you're a single mother. Because that's also a part of the problem. That women spreading it for these bad guys, wondering why they're not sticking around because they A, bailed or B, went to jail. Great choice. And at the end of the day, having to raise these kids without a stable role model in their life. There is a central problem here that the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about, because then they'll make them realize that they are also part of the problem. The media's war on masculinity is part of the problem. It's not the President of the United States. The problem is that these guys have no dads that they can go to, that they can ask questions. Dad, I'm not having much luck with women. What do I do? What can I do, Dad, to hook up with some hot chick? Because at the end of the day, this one is too busy going out on a drug-fueled bender, and this one is too busy with smashing the patriarch. I wonder what caused the shootings. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think there was another problem involved? Or do you think I might be right on the money? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, guys, obviously this video has been helpful. Please smack a like if you're new to the channel. Welcome and subscribe. And apart from that, guys, I will see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.